I'm over to St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Gowanda, New York, and I'm the groundskeeper over here now. This has been our church for the past 40 years or so, and there's several jobs that need to be done, and we'll start with this big pine tree here. There's a whole bunch of the lower boughs that are hanging over our Sunday school building. In fact, some of them are laying right on the roof. And so I talked to the lady next door, and this is actually on her property, this big pine tree, and she was all right with me trimming the lower branches off. There's several that are hanging down so that when she drives her car up the driveway, they actually touch the top of her car. So anyway, we've got the ladder up, and this is a pretty hazardous job, or can be. I've done several of these ladder tree trimming jobs, and you have to really go slow and easy and be careful. I cut off quite a few of those lower boughs, probably 20 or 25 of them. So a lot more light will get into the area and keep that roof dry, and the side of the building will be drier. It'll just be nice to let the sunshine in. So this project took me about 5 hours. There were quite a few trips up and down the ladder, and I'd have to stop and cut the boughs into manageable pieces so I could load them. So I finally got it trimmed up the way I wanted it and got the brush hauled away. I got permission from the village to haul all the brush over to a place where they take it. They said they'd rather have me haul it over there than put it out to the curb and then have them have to come and pick it up. So it worked out for all of us. We got things cleaned up, and looks pretty nice now. So there's the tree. You can see how many of those things I cut off. So the neighbor's happy and we're happy. I'll pan over there now, and you can see there's a lot of clearance from the pine tree to the Sunday school roof. So this is the way it looks now. And this is the way it looked when I started, and you can see how low those boughs are over the driveway. So it's a big improvement, I think. We had quite a few piles of brush left over from last year when we trimmed our bushes around the church. And so I got those cleaned up. That's what I'm dumping on the truck now when I threw the pine boughs on top of it. So there's the load of pine boughs. That's one load. I took 2 of them over today. Just like that. Alright, so this is job number 2. Between the sidewalk and the curb, the dirt has built up. The sod is built up so that I can't mow it with a lawnmower. And that's from all the sand that they put on the road in the wintertime. It gets pushed up there, and there you can see it. It's built up, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 inches. So I decided to use the backhoe and peel that off of there from the sidewalk down to the curb. And when I'm done, it'll be a nice flat incline there that I can mow with either the rider mower, or at least I can do it with the push mower. So I've gone down through with the backhoe and pulled most of it out into the road there, and then I used the front bucket to come in there and I tip the bucket up and then back up, and I can get it pretty nice so that there's not too much raking that has to be done by hand. Here's a little spot I left some sod there, so I peck that off by hand. Then I figured out if I just drove in perpendicular to the sidewalk with the front loader, I could tip that loader bucket up and set it down and back up, and I could rip that off there pretty easy. So the second half went a lot faster after I got my system figured out. Yeah, there was a fella that did the groundskeeping for quite a few years, and he isn't able to do it anymore, and so I've taken that over now for him. And the church is pretty good. They trust us to do the best job we know how. And every once in a while we have one of these big jobs that we need to kind of catch up on and keep things around the church looking nice. There's not too much traffic on this street here in town. I've got some cones set out so that I can warn people that I'm working here. There's a cone by the truck. I've got some up ahead of the truck so that people can see when they come down the street that they have to go around me. And there comes a car now. But it's a small town. People are pretty good. And we'll get out of the way and let that guy go down through. So there we can see where I've used the tractor to back drag, and we really didn't have too much finish work to do by hand, but there it is, all raked off and ready to seed. We've got the same situation going on out front of the church, so we really need to do the same thing. It's a little wider area, here it is, but you can see how humped up it is from all that sand in the wintertime gets kicked up on there. It can't be mowed very easily. So that'll be for another day though. We've got a real pretty little church here in Gowanda. And the Reverend David Knows is a peach of a guy. And our congregation's a really friendly group. Here's our entrance to the church through the Lich Gate. Up the nice patio sidewalk here. And there's the entrance. Welcome everybody.